So, Michelle, let's get into things a little bit here. Um,
Absolutely, Jim. And thank you for having me tonight. I'm really excited to join the Consciousness Cafe family. Thank you.
yes. So, tell us a little bit about how did you become aware that you had a capacity for channeling?
I actually was not aware that I had any real spiritual abilities at all. I had initially studied and became very attracted to Dr. Brian Weiss's um, information that he shared in his books. And ultimately, I learned the process that he utilizes to administer and assist people with achieving past life regressions. And really, I only did it out of curiosity. It was more of an experiment. Even at that time, I wasn't sure if I believed, all that there is to know now. I was very new. I would say it was right at the beginning of my awakening journey. And once I had achieved my own past life regression, it just became like a sport to me. I loved downloading all of the information of my other lives. I loved the feeling that I got from, experiencing life as men and other women and other cultures and other ages. And so I I did it almost every week for many months.
Was this
So
facilitated or were you doing
yes,
self
what I
hypnosis?
did was after I learned the process, I actually taught a friend of mine to be the facilitator, so that she could be the person on the other side as I went within. And it really is a journey within oneself. We're all multi-dimensional beings, and we all have an enormous amount of access to information that we don't normally really realize during the course of our day to day. And so, in the process of going within and retrieving this information about me and the people who are in my life right now, and finding out who my soulmates are, and one day I stepped into what I thought was going to be a regression, and what was it was actually a place. And I think that the reason why they constructed the place is to so that I could relate to it at the level that I was. So the place was one of the duality that held both light and dark. It was very interesting. I had never seen that before. I actually had an intuitive artist paint the place where they taught me to make this connection, in the process of where I raise my vibration and where they lower it. Now, it took 2 sessions for me to figure out. I actually had to go back because I wasn't sure what had happened. But when I had stepped into this place, I knew immediately that something was wrong, because normally in a past life regression, you know instantly what you look like, you are aware of your surroundings, and there was nothingness. It was
Mhm.
the absence of everything. And yet it was it was everything as well at the same time. So when the I am experience happened, you have to understand that as I was having these past life experiences, I was doing the full process where after a life ends, you actually continue on and then go to the location where your soul went after it left a body. So imagine the number of times that unknowingly, and I didn't understand the impact of this, that not only was I going in and retrieving my own records, but then I was moving dimensionally in my conscious state to the dimension where my soul would go after each life ended.
Mhm.
What started happening is guides started showing up. I didn't really have the language for it then, but now I know that they were guides. And I they were answering questions. Now you have to understand that the friend who I had taught, plus myself, were neophytes in the area of evolution, awakening, shifting. There's all this language. We knew none of it, nor did we have any friends who were in the spiritual community. So we were two neophytes out there with a new toy that we were playing with, essentially, and we was in background. But what we learned is that when these guides started showing up, we realized that we could ask questions. Now, what do lay people ask when you realize you have accidentally, although of course it's not an accident, there are no such things as accidents, but at the time, that's what we thought. And so what do you do when you're not very knowledgeable spiritually and you come across this group of teachers that has come forward now to give information? Well, we ask the normal questions like, where's the necklace? And what's my next job going to be? The typical, uninformed, you understand those
Yeah.
questions. And the answers that we were getting, although obviously it was in the English language, I could understand it. We didn't understand what the answers were. It was talking about energy. The answers would include information about vibration, free will. And we thought, no, we just really want to know where the necklace is. So we weren't, the
Yeah.
information, was a little ahead of us. What happened is I started to do energy work, although at the time I didn't know what that was either. I allowed my desire for clarity. And the clarity was I wanted to understand what this group of beings was trying to tell me each week after a regression. It was beginning to become almost a living, breathing thing with me. There were times when I would just pace the house, wanting to understand this information that they had given. That obviously I understood the word energy, obviously I understood the word vibration, I knew it free will, but not in the context that they were using it. And I wanted to understand the context. So this went on for about a month and a half. And so imagine the energy that I am escalating within my own framework now. The desire for clarity literally ramped up to a fever pitch. And one day I had called another friend who was mildly dabbled in watching the Abraham material. And I was telling her that I was getting this information, and a trusted friend, because, we didn't really have a lot of friends in the spiritual community. And one didn't want to step out and say that there were beings that were talking to us. So this was information that was very closely held for a long time. But this is a friend I could trust. And so I shared my frustration that I didn't understand what they were trying to say. And she said, well, why don't you tell me some of the things that they're saying? And I started to tell her the things that they were saying that I wanted to understand. And she said, oh my God, Michelle, that sounds like Abraham. And I said, who's Abraham? And so she says, I'm going to send you a YouTube video. I'd like you to listen to it and then call me back. And so I said, yeah, okay, that's great. Not having high hopes. She sent me the video and I hit play. And within 6 seconds, I like if my teeth could fall out. And I said, oh my God, that's them, because they were using the same language. So I listened to the video and I called her back and I was so excited. It's now, what was that? A manifestation. I moved my energy. I was trying to manifest clarity, although at the time that was not what I was not consciously aware that I was doing. And voila, I manifested.
Yeah.
And so then, of course, you can imagine for the next month, all I did was play Abraham videos. If I'm washing the dishes, Abraham video. Doing the laundry, Abraham video. Working on the computer, Abraham video. I inhaled as much as possible. What happened was I started to understand what the guides were saying, but now I wasn't understanding everything that Abraham was saying. So what happened? The cycle repeated. My energy started to raise. I wanted clarity on understanding the Abraham material. And that went on for about 2 months. And what happened was, all this time, I'm still doing regressions. I had crossed over. I went into the place of duality that I told you about, how they, constructed it so that it would be something that I could understand. It was the place where oneness converges with the physical. Now I understand that's what it is. So when I raise my vibration, I am extending my own conscious awareness, my own energy, raising it up. and they kind of modify theirs. They lower it a bit, and we meet in this place of oneness where all that is, and that was the I am experience. So we kind of bungled that first experience. We didn't really ask the right questions. Like, who are you would have been probably the number one question. So we went back a couple weeks later, and she stepped me into the place where I could have that oneness with all that is. And that was a 20-minute recording where I channeled I am, where she could ask questions and then she could get the answers. What I remember was the weight of, it's almost like the energy was so large. It felt almost heavy. That's what I remember. She asked her questions for 20 minutes. The I am, all that is, was done. And she was told that she could ask the remaining questions to someone else. And then the I am the energy moved kind of away a little bit from me. And then another energy came in, whereupon she asked the name of this energy form, this entity, and the name was Seth.
Mm-hmm.
Understand, we didn't know really who that was either, but at this point now we're just going with it. We've learned to kind of just go with things.
Yeah.
And that's when I think about a month later, we stopped channeling at that point. I mean, we stopped doing past life regressions because now we were introduced to an entity that was literally going to answer whatever question we had. And it was almost like we felt like we had the keys to the kingdom, that we could ask literally any question at all and kind of get an answer that was explained in a way that we can understand at the time. And a month later is when I found out it was called channeling. We had a word for it. We said, let's go to the place where we can connect with that guy who can answer all of our questions. This was the entire language, because we didn't know that there was a thing called channeling. We went to a party and there was somebody there who was in the spiritual community. And when we found that out, that she worked with energy and Reiki and crystals, I shared with her the place that we went to talk to the guy who would answer all of our questions, that long thing, whereupon she looked at me and said, do you understand that that's called channeling? And my friend and I, we love discovering new things. We said, that's a thing? You know, we didn't realize that that was a whole thing. And so that's when I started to understand that there was channeling and that it was a form of mediumship and that there are several forms of them. So that's the long and short. I actually was not aware. As you can see, I kind of just kept moving into experiences and until I just, and here I am in front of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's a question for you. When you're in this state and you're with Seth, are you consciously?
I want to just tell you one more thing, if I could. I apologize for interrupting. After the second time, before the Seth entity was introduced, there was this wave of emotion that was the purest love that I think I've ever consciously been aware of. So when the question and answer portion with the I am was over, between the I am and her, there was this movement of love that I've never been aware of before. And the energy was so powerful that I remember my breath were coming in short bursts, as though my body was unable to handle, and it wasn't even all of it, right? So my body was reacting to not being able to handle the energy. I want to tell you that that was probably the most beautiful moment in my life, is in my human state, to become aware. And it was almost like his signature or its signature as it was leaving the I am, as if to say, to let me understand the fullness of what it was that we were communicating with. I didn't want to leave that out, because that's the beautiful part of the story.
I know we have at least one near-death experiencer tonight with us who is probably reacting to your words in a very emotional way. I had an experience of that love in a holotropic breathwork state, and I just lay there weeping in ecstasy. Um, it's a feeling that you don't forget, and you just,
No.
I wish that there was a way to have it around me. I mean, it is around me all, but to perceive it.
Yes.
Um, but so I'm sure there are people here tonight that have first-person experience with what we're talking about.
It's a gift, really, to be able to know it
Yeah.
in this consciousness, in this framework. It's a
Well, I
gift.
mean, that's the heart of everything is love. You know,
Yeah.
and we have these events and we talk about subjects, um, but really underneath it all, it's all about love and trying to be an expression of that love.
Yes.
So let me go back to that question I started posing to you.
Hmm.
When you're in the state with Seth, because that's who you'll be with a little later, um, are you consciously aware of are you hearing the questions being posed, and are you aware of the responses?
It has been an evolution of my senses. In the beginning, I would have absolutely no awareness. Now, though, recently, I am aware of the words as they are being spoken.
Mm-hmm.
But when the session is over, I don't really remember what was talked about.
Okay.
However, when someone talks about it, it's instant recall. So there's an evolution of this ability that is happening right now. I thought initially it would always be that way, and I'm discovering now that that's not exactly true. So I am aware of the words now as they're being spoken. I'm aware of the energy as it moves and pitches. My body, I'm always aware of my body. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm aware of my body's responses to the movement of the energy during the conversations. Yeah, which is lovely, actually. It's like
So
plugging your body into an electric socket,
we're
but
recording
in a
this.
nice way.
We're recording this evening. Will you be able to go back and watch it and bring up those feelings again through watching the recording? Yeah.
Yeah, I resonate when I listen back to recording. I resonate with it.
Yeah.
And even the parts that I don't remember, when I listen back, my body still has the same reaction. Like there'll be a tingling that happens when there's something really fantastic that was being shared. So it's interesting.
So here's another question for you. When the two times I've watched you channeling, Seth does a little presentation, and I assume he or they, whatever the energy, um, somehow decides what the group needs to hear and talks about that. Is that, I mean, would you agree that there's probably some kind of conscious awareness on the other side of what needs to be heard? Does that drive what Seth says? Or is it more, well, I'm just going to put
Yeah,
out there.
it's a really good question, because a lot of times people who were in the queue to ask questions will say, "Oh, you already answered my question."
Okay.
And then they'll either remove themselves from the queue or they'll maybe ask a secondary question. But it happens a lot where um, maybe they're not disclosing a lot of information, but exactly what they're talking about is incorporated into the response. So that's something that should be prepared for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there seems to be an understanding and a knowing directly um, of that, and it happens quite frequently.
Yeah. So soon we'll go into an actual trance state and with channeling. This will be my first time trying to facilitate that. So another question occurs to me. Um, Paying attention to you as an individual, um, it seems to me there's some, it can be draining over a period of time for you as Michelle. Is that a true statement?
Um, y- it's interesting. It's actually there's a bit of a charge. It's, when I'm done a session, I feel energized. I feel energized and I feel like I need to rest at the same time, if that
Mhm.
makes sense.
Yeah.
It's almost like that the energy that was surging, that I could feel in my body is a natural, it's just filled with so much vitality. But then also when it's done, I'm more than happy to go sit in a chair and, kind of
Yeah.
sit and relax. So it's a little bit of both for me anyway.
Is there any period of time that you'd like me to bring it to an end? 30 minutes, 20 minutes? Is there a,
I generally don't stay in session for more than an hour without being able to get
yeah,
something or, go to
well, that's,
the taking a 5-minute break.
yeah, that's probably plenty. I don't imagine we'll keep you in an hour, but because I want to make sure people get a chance to, well, I guess you are in anyway when they're asking questions of Seth. So it could be an hour's time, um, maybe a half hour of Seth making a presentation, a half hour of people posing questions. And then when you come back out, I think I've seen Daniel give you a break. You get up and go to the bathroom or get a drink or something just to kind of recompose. And I want to make sure I give you that opportunity.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, all right. Before you get into a channel state, is there any other commentary you'd like to offer to everybody?
Um, the just to, stay in that place of heart coherence and, feel free to bring any issues forward that are important. We're all on this, we're all in this together. We're all in the cycle of ascension. And even if you feel maybe a little reticent about bringing forward a question, most likely there's going to be several other people that have the same question that it would help. So I would just say, feel comfortable doing that. Yeah.
Yeah. So here's a suggestion as well. People may have some reticence about bringing up a personal issue,
Yes.
but I'd like to think that the um, personality that this group has is understanding of that. That if
Of course.
that that we, I don't want people to feel like, well, what will people think of me if I ask this question? Um, we are caring people. We want to be expressions of love. So don't feel like you have to be, um, pull any punches on your questions. Okay. Um, I had one other question, but it seems to have slipped my mind at this point. Maybe Seth will come back and answer it anyway.
Maybe.
All
Wouldn't
right.
be the first time.
Oh, well, now the question that I had was because I know we have a number of people in our audience who are more traditional mediums, get messages and share them with others. Um, is it is it that different being a trance medium than say a more traditional medium?
It's
Could
a really good,
could a traditional medium um, make a transition to a trance medium?
absolutely yes. Everyone on the planet has the ability to make this connection interdimensionally with high vibration guides, teachers. Absolutely, yes. So not only can mediums do it, uh, as
Even
as
people
I
like
have
me.
demonstrated, people like me, people
Yeah,
like you,
yeah.
every human on the planet has the ability. Everybody on the planet, we are all portions of one consciousness. We are all portions of the one consciousness. So latent within us are a plethora of abilities that can come forward that we can enjoy, that we can share. It's not just transmediumship; it's a host of other abilities that are just waiting to reveal themselves on everyone's journey at the appropriate times. So
Okay.
the answer is yes, absolutely.
So
Yeah.
let me make a, before we get into the trance side of it, let me make a comment, see if you agree with this. You had said to me earlier this week that for Seth to respond to questions, it's helpful if the individual will pose the question as opposed to my being a vehicle for expressing the question. So,
Sometimes there are people who are just very shy and they have the facilitator, the moderator read the question for them. The answer can be given, but the exploration of the conversation in a back and forth dialogue doesn't really happen if the moderator is just asking one question. Whereas if there is a person that asks the question directly, then there can be more exploration, more
mhm,
of an interaction between the person that has the question and the family of teachers.
okay. So everybody, please make note of that. When we get to the question period, um, what we'll do is we'll have you raise your hand, and I'll just call on you so that you can um, verbalize your question directly. Um, if you really feel strongly that you don't want to verbalize the question and you want me to do that, um, send me a personal, you can select me to personally receive a message and I'll look for that. Um, but again, I think the beyond just the first response, there may be some give and take, and it'd be helpful for people to be engaged in that conversation directly. Okay, well, here we go.
Here we go.
We're going to, no, there's a question. Can we ask Michelle a personal question through direct chat? You can ask a question when we're done with the family. Let's use that term that you used. When Michelle comes out of her trance state, if you want to pose a question to her as an individual, then you can do it through the chat. But Michelle is not going to be uh, with us sufficiently, consciously sufficiently with us to be watching the chat herself while she's doing the trance work. So don't send, if you try to send her a personalized chat, that's something that she won't, and correct me if I'm wrong, Michelle, but if you've got a question for Seth, don't send it through the chat for Michelle to expect that she's going to read it.
Yeah, that is correct. I keep my eyes closed traditionally. Um, so certainly if they want to send a question to you, the person who's the facilitator for the evening to read, they could do that. But when I make my connection, I do nothing else.
Mhm. Okay, well, why don't you take a moment and bring yourself into that state of awareness
Okay.
and we'll go from there.
Good evening to all of the divine creators assembled here tonight. Our time together is going to include your ability to energetically shift your perspective and therefore your energy. I am happy to be sharing this time of expansion with all of you here today. Indeed, when you experience the energy shift of clarity in your perspectives, it is an energy that moves throughout the universe. And those of us in non physical, as well as those in physical, are the beneficiaries of the joyous momentum of your increasing your vibration during this time that we are assembled here together. And so I thank you. As many of you already know, you are in a time that is comprised of many changes. You are involved in what you refer to as your ascension process. One of the most important things that you can do to assist your endeavors along your journey in your daily life is to create unconditional beliefs. That is, opposing beliefs to limiting fear based beliefs. I have said before that you live in a safe universe. You can decide and you can choose to believe that you live in a safe planet. Indeed, this belief would assist you for the natural frequencies of trust, then for yourself and for your world, would allow you to expand into realities and experiences that without these beliefs, you would indeed be limited. You would be experiencing more limited constructs then of your realities. I have said, you create your reality. And your reality is much more than what you perceive with your five senses. And so, the more unconditional that is, the more that you can bring yourself into harmony, into resonance with your authentic energy. That is the energy of creation. That is the most powerful energy frequency in all of the universes, then, which of course is the fuel that powers your life. But often you are unaware. You are not thinking of yourselves as the divine, endowed with the gift of the gods. This energy, this unlimited reservoir, this unlimitedly powerful energy of creation. You use it every day. You use it to go to work. You use it to make dinner. You use it to do your work on the computer. You use this energy. This is the energy that fuels your life. You commonly refer to it as the energy of unconditional love, then. And so the more unconditional the framework of your beliefs, the more you are aligning yourself with your authentic energy source, then, and creating from that energy platform is very different, as many of you have already discovered, than creating from the energy of limitation, the energy of unworthiness, the energies of distrust, as opposed to the energies of love and joy and spontaneity, allowing your natural creativity to come forward and be seen in the world, assisting those of your race and your species then. And so, what I have been discussing of late is the ability to create a habit of thought, a pattern of thought that will, during the course of your day, remind you that you are the divine. It is why you are unlimited. It is why you are so powerful. It is why you are so capable of changing the world that you live in any given moment. One who is aware of their authority, their unlimited power, is more powerful than the billions who are not. When you laugh, understand the nature of your power. Your laugh, which is joy, the energy of joy, resonates to the farthest sun in the universe. This is how powerful you are. Your energy travels beyond your house, your community, your state. Your one energy alone can shapeshift your planet, can be felt throughout the universes. I have discussions now through this collaborative on how to think like the divine. If your thoughts create your reality, and if your emotions are your energy frequency that you are emitting out into your reality, into your world, then it would behoove you to, as much as you can, not think of yourself as just a person with the limited experience of this one life alone, but to remember you are multidimensional. You are multifaceted. You have access to the information of everything at your command, then. And so, thinking like a divine will assist you along your evolutionary trail. For the divine is the energy, again, of love, joy, passion, creativity, spontaneity, happiness, value fulfillment, satisfaction, worthiness. So then it stands to reason then that in the words I have just offered you, the word fear was not anywhere in that conversation. Insecurity, anxiety, you will notice, was absent in the words that I offered you. And so, very naturally, you are joyous. Very naturally, without anything else happening outside of you, you are joy. You are happy. You are loving. You are unconditional at your core. The idea that you need certain elements or certain relationships outside of you to feel these things is, of course, a limiting belief that you were taught that you came here to learn, but now you no longer need those perspectives. The energy of those perspectives no longer serves you. And now it is time to move through your next levels of evolution into the realities where you are experiencing yourself at energies that you have never experienced before. I have said that you are constantly moving through realities from a quantum perspective, then. Indeed, when you get up out of one room and you walk into another, you have shifted thousands of times into other realities, then. I have also explained that you are not attempting to materialize something out of thin air. More, you are trying to move into other realities that are desired, that are more wanted, that are more adventurous. You are attempting to move into realities, probable realities, that you have already created. Indeed, you have created an infinite number of realities from this one life experience alone. What you are attempting to do then is to come into harmony vibrationally, energetically with the version of you that is experiencing that reality. For instance, if you are seeking a certain level of prosperity and abundance, rest assured that you have created the reality of that manifestation already. There is a life that you are living in that reality where you have all of the abundance and all of the prosperity that you desire to utilize here in this life. But in that reality, that version of you does not think like the version of you on this call. That version of you is at peace. That version of you does not have as much fear. That version of you is much less concerned about what other people think about you. And so, what you are attempting to do then is to control, which you can, through the manipulation of your thoughts and your energy to move yourself, align yourself with the reality that you want to experience. It has been referred to as the process of thoughts becoming things, but in actuality, you are moving yourself through realities to the desired realities that you want to experience then. And you have the ability to do this in any given moment. Such is the authority of your creative power. Such is within your purview as a divine creator, harnessing the energy of the universe at your will, then. And so tonight's interactions are going to consider that you are a divine being interacting with another high vibrational being in non physical. And we will be divine beings then interacting together from the place of your authentic energy, which is love, then. And so within this energy that I am offering to co create with you, this is the energy that is most beneficial with regards to clarity. This is the energy that minimizes confusion. This is the energy that minimizes chaos so that you may have a conversation from as much natural heart coherence as possible. And so let us begin with the first question then.
We have a question that has been submitted. From your perspective, Seth, or the family, what is the purpose for incarnating on this particular planet?
The purpose of every being coming forward into their physical bodies is, of course, to achieve the level of value fulfillment that each of you came here to achieve. Each one of you came to experience the perspectives that you would need to learn and then adjust and overcome. Each of you came to achieve different goals then. Each of you have made agreements then and collaborations. Each of you have made plans towards this end. Every single one of you has come forward to achieve that level of value fulfillment.
Thank you. Next.
Unless you are asking about the purpose of incarnating at all beyond that, which you can ask at another time.
Mhm. Ryan, you've got your hand raised. Go ahead. Ryan, you can pose your question. Go ahead. Ryan, you can speak if you, it looks like you're unmuted. You can pose your question. Looks like we're having a difficult time getting through. Ryan, I'm going to move on. If you can't articulate your question, we'll go to another one. So here's a question. How do we align with our many multidimensional selves?
The question is not how do you align? The question is that you would like to perceive more of your multidimensional aspects. There is the physical.
Test. Oh, sorry.
Ryan, we'll come back to you in a minute.
There is the physical aspect, your rational mind, your logical mind. There is your intuitive mind, then. There are the portions of you that are existing here in this time space reality, and there are portions of you existing in other simultaneous lives, then. For only here in this dimension does time run as past, present, future, then. So, what you're wanting to do is you're wanting to connect to the ability to perceive more of yourself. And there are many approaches. There is not one right approach. There are many approaches. And oftentimes, your souls, you call them inner beings, I call them souls, for they are not inner at all. Your inner beings are not inside of you. When you look at your face in the mirror, when you look at your hair, when you look at your hands and your arms and your legs, you are actually looking at your soul in physical form. But I digress. One moment. Yes.
Here's another question. This is from Katie C. Katie, why don't you articulate it if you're comfortable?
Okay. What is the genesis of my limiting beliefs? Is it just this life or was it before?
That is a very important question, and I thank you for answering it. Understand this. Within each physical life that you incarnate into, it is only your thought energy in that life that creates your reality. Meaning, if you are a male, also which you are, let us say in Africa, and you are who you are right now here on this call, the version of you that is the male in Africa is not able to impact your reality here in this life as this version of you. Each version of you in physical form That is the entity that is creating your reality. Now, is there communication between the versions of you? Yes, of course, there is assistance often given in this way, much of the time in your dream state, but that is not to be mistaken with the fact that it is only your thoughts, your beliefs here that you assimilated in this life that is actually out affecting your reality here. And of course, what is the genesis? The genesis is the same for most of you. Most of you assimilated your limiting beliefs at ages where you were too young to form them on your own. You learned them from your families, you learned them from your friends, your teachers, your religious organizations, of course. And so, but this is not a negative thing. I want to say that it's very important because this is a common place of self-judgment here. You came to assimilate the perspective of the culture that you came into, the family that you came into, the school that you were going to go to, the religion that you were going to experience as you were growing up. You came to experience that perspective for a reason. You were very selective. The planning that most of you did before you came forward into your bodies was very precise. It was very carefully planned. And so the genesis of your limiting beliefs is what is the genesis for most of you? Childhood, your teenage years, and of course, the beliefs that you were taught, you manifested them in your young adulthood. So, which of course gave credibility to the validity of those limiting beliefs. It happened, therefore, it must be true. And this is the unwinding of the thoughts now. It is true because you believed it then. So the genesis, of course, is this life only. Now, let me say, if you believe that your other lives have the ability to impact this reality, then of course they will. There is no judgment, then you see, in what you are creatively expressing in your life. If you believe that any issues or problems that arise in other lives can affect you in this life, then they will. But it is not so unless you believe that. The energy you're producing here with this human brain, the cells and atoms and molecules in the body that you're in right now, this is the vibrational standpoint that is creating your reality here.
Let's go back to Ryan. Ryan, do you want to try posing your question?
You hear me now?
Yes.
All right. Good to see you again, Seth. I'm going through a spiritual awakening, and I have a lot of fears and apprehension that I have about embracing my spiritual gifts that my spirit guardian wants me to embrace. Should I embrace this path if it's part of my soul agreement, or since there's free will, can I decline to embrace these spiritual gifts entirely? Or if I want to embrace the path, what's the best way I can get over my fears and apprehension about embracing moving forward with it? Thank you.
Thank you for asking the question. And the first thing I want to say is be easy on yourself. To say that there are a lot of negative aspects about you is unnecessary. To say that you're on your awakening journey is perfectly fine. But you can say instead, I am on my awakening journey and I am learning every day. I'm getting better and better about learning the things that I didn't know very much about before, and that's okay. You see, it places you in a different energy. Now, to the question of your free will is sacred in all things at all times. The reason why the energy of all that is, which is shared with you, this energy of creation, unconditional love, the reason why it is unconditional, it is because of that very thing. There are no conditions upon it. You may create whatever reality you wish to. If you do not desire to experience the manifestation of spiritual abilities, you are not required to. There's no law that will be broken. There is no right and wrongness of your experience. There is only you learning and growing in the way that you prefer. And so, first, you may do whatever you wish to do, and you may not do whatever you do not wish to do. But understand this one thing, since you called it an awakening journey, some call it the ascension path, then any decision that you make from fear is going to place you from a quantum perspective on a negative timeline. And what does that mean? Because emotions like fear, apprehension, anxiety, chaos, confusion, and uncertainty resonate at particular energy frequencies. They create a negative timeline then. And what is on that timeline? Unwanted negative experiences. If you would like to have an awakening journey that is full of experiences that are fun, that are joyous, that are adventurous, that are exciting, then you want to make decisions that will place you, from a quantum perspective, on the positive timeline. And so your intentions here become very important then. When you make a decision, what is behind the decision? Are you making that decision because you're afraid? Are you making a decision because you're not afraid? It's just a matter of what you would like to be excited by next. Excited is a good word here because you came to have an adventure. You came to express yourself and feel the pleasure of that. You came to be of assistance to humanity and to experience the pleasure of that then. So, of course, you can experience whatever ability you would like, or you cannot experience them without judgment. There is no wrongness in either decision. Just understand that if you would rather have more fun in life, you do not want to make decisions that place you on a negative timeline. You want to make decisions from love, from trust, from confidence, and safety. You want to make decisions that will put you on a positive timeline. Because if you're on a positive timeline, does it really matter what happens then? No, because whatever's going to happen is going to delight you. Whatever's going to happen is going to feel fun. It's going to be happy. It's going to be exciting. It's going to feel adventurous, even if you never leave your own house. You can feel adventurous without leaving your own house. It is an energy frequency. Everything is energy. Be mindful of the kind of energy timeline you are creating moment to moment.
Thank you.
You are most welcome, and thank you for asking that question. It was a very good one.
We have a question that's come through the chat room. I've had very positive experiences with a high-level trance channeler of the Pleiadians.
Indeed.
I've also had very dark experiences with a trance channel who evolved his group into a cult after he resisted any suggestion that he needed to shield/prepare himself before going into trance. How does Michelle shield/prepare herself so that she only attracts those energies that are high level and light filled?
This is a really good group because the questions are fantastic energy questions. Very, very good. As you refer to the dark energies, understand that your realities are a mirror reflection of your inner world, meaning your realities and what you're going to experience and co-experience are a reflection then of your belief systems. Your beliefs give rise to your thoughts give rise to your emotions then. And so, in order to experience what you call negative energy, in order to experience what you call the dark, there must be a corresponding belief system that will sustain it. And so here is what I have said many times before. And it is a choice for you to believe in this or not. And it is a decision. And the decision that you make will be one of whether or not you provide more assistance to yourself or not. And here it is. All that is did not create evil. I'll say it again. All that is the pure, unadulterated energy, the most powerful energy frequency in all of the universes, which is love at a level that you cannot imagine in your human minds, did not create evil. It is the energy of love. The energy of evil is not in harmony with the energy of love. This was created not by all that is, but it is honored. I am not disputing the validity of those who have experienced negative entities. Just understand why that is so. It is because there is a belief in evil. There is a belief that there are good people and there are bad people. There are good energies and there are evil energies. And if you believe that, you can experience both. I have said you do not have to get overly connected to the observations in your daily life of what others are creating. You're observing the manifestations, the realities of other people. And you think that because they have created this and you are able to observe it with your five senses, that it must be true, and it is not. You actually live in a safe world. You live in a safe universe. Only kindness and love is coming towards you. The only way that that could not be so is if you believe something different then. So here in this collaboration, she had a choice. She understood that her reality was a mirror reflection then of what she believed. And that if she believed in evil, if she believed that at its heart, mankind was ultimately bad, she knew that she was going to create that because only she was responsible for her reality and every experience she had in it. And so she thought, well, if that's true, I don't want to experience anything bad. If I have to experience contrast, I would rather have it come in the form of a question than in the form of some disaster that must be dealt with or something frightening that would discombobulate her then. And so she decided to create an unconditional belief. And here it is. And it would serve all of you as well.
Kathy?
I live
Oh,
I am
go ahead.
I live in a safe world. This planet is a good one. There is nothing wrong with it. Every human on the planet is good. Every human on the planet is good. Every human on the planet is loving. Every human on the planet only wants to be kind to me and share their goodness with me. Prosperity and abundance in this world flows easily into my life from all directions, but not only on my planet. The universe is good and safe, and every living thing in it, physical and non-physical, only wants to be kind, not only to me, but to everyone on my planet. Then the universe is good, and so is everything in it. And everything in it only wants to be kind and helpful and supportive of me and supportive of all mankind. Now, what is this unconditional belief? It sets the platform for the reality that you're going to experience. What are you going to experience? Kindness, kindness from humankind, and kindness from life beyond earth. What else are you going to experience? Prosperity, safety, worthiness, because you have created a world that is good. You have contributed to a world that is good. And so, what grounding do you need if the belief in evil is absent? If the only thing you believe in is love and goodness, you are what you light workers like to say, holding the maximum amount of light in the world and creating a trajectory of that life out into all of the multiverses because you only believe in good. You only need permission slips like grounding if you incorporate a belief system that includes the idea of evil and that man is bad and judgment. Yes, then you need the permission slips. Then you need to use all of the tools that you need to use to be able to manage the duality then. But what if you only believed in love? What if you only believed in the goodness of your planet? What if you only believed in the goodness of your race, the human race? What if you only believed in the goodness of all life in the universe beyond what you know? What would you experience then? And then, do you need grounding if you're creating from that unconditional energy? And so the answer to your question is she does not believe in evil. She does not believe that man is bad, and she does not believe in evil entities. Therefore, by definition of law, it cannot come into her experience. Only loving vibrations can. Only loving entities can. Entities and people that are kind. Now, does that stand to reason that other people who have created negative energies, that they are not valid? No, that is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is she is unable to connect with those experiences because the belief system does not permit it.
Okay, Kathy McDaniel.
We talk a lot about soulmates. My question is, how do we find them? How do we recognize them? And what is the best way to utilize the interaction when we do find them?
This is a wonderful question as well. Truly wonderful. First, you have many. Second, you've already met several. Third, if you would like to meet more, then define the construct. Would you like a soulmate that you can experience a romantic relationship with? Would you like to experience a soulmate that you can have one of the best friendships ever felt? And define what you want. Say what you want. Remember, your focused thought is your present moment of power. What you say in this moment is what you create. After that, it is only what your energy allows, you see. And so this is helpful. Now, speak what you would like to have.
Chris, you have your hand raised.
Yes. Hi, my name is Chris. It's nice to meet you. I wanted to ask you.
The honor is mine, divine creator, truly.
I wanted to ask you, in this lifetime, I find that I am both healing myself and also destroying myself. And I feel like I'm in my own way. So my question is, in order to fulfill my life's purpose, my soul's purpose, how do I get out of my own way?
Your thoughts generate your energy. What you think is what will be true. Here's the difficulty for most people. What they have already experienced in the past has set the framework for what they believe is true. But you are correct. You can heal your own body, even from issues that are thought to be hereditary. You can heal your own body. Let us create a belief for you that will allow you to do so. which also happens to be true. My body was perfectly designed to protect itself against everything, period. I appreciate that I have such a body. I appreciate and I'm grateful that my body, without my telling it to do so, knows exactly how to heal itself in any given moment. I know that because my body knows how to heal itself moment to moment, my only work is to relax and allow myself to experience the healing in the physical dimension. My body heals itself in faster than a nanosecond, but I, in my physical form, may need many days or several weeks to be able to perceive the healing that my body did instantaneously. Then, these are the affirmations that you can give your body, because remember, what is your body? It is you. It is your soul. It is your consciousness in physical form. This arm is your consciousness's arm. Think of it. Think like the divine. This hand is a divine hand. It is the hand of your consciousness, then. Appreciate every part of your body every day as much as you can. Thank your body for doing its job. Thank your body for knowing how to sleep, how to inhale and exhale every night while you lay unconscious. Your body has been proving to you for your entire life that it knows what to do without you. You don't have to direct your liver to perform its functions. You don't have to tell your heart to keep beating when you go to sleep at night. You don't need to tell your kidneys to do their job. Your body has been doing its job without you your whole life. And yes, you can, as you say, get out of your own way by constructing a completely unconditional belief, which happens to be true, which is the affirmation I just gave you to say to yourself about your body every day. And what is a belief? A habit of thought that you continue to think. And what is a thought? It is the beginning point of your vibration. So if you are thinking this about your body every day, what do you think your body is doing? The cells and atoms and molecules of your body are responding to the thoughts that you're having. Repeat that affirmation to yourself every day, and you will find very quickly, you will, as you say, get out of your own way.
This question came through the chat room. Not sure I understand it, but which spirit is with me right now?
One, you are connected to everything. There is not just a connection to one. You are literally connected through all that is to everything. The question becomes, which one would you like to interact with? Would you like to interact with non-physical? Would you like to interact with others, with other beings, physical beings in other dimensions? Because you are connected to them as well. You are connected to every blade of grass on this planet, and you are connected to every teacher and every guide that exists in non-physical. You are known. Everyone in non-physical that you think of as everyone is aware of you in this moment. The question presupposes that there is a separation, you see, and there is not. There is not just one. There is all that is. You are connected to every single particle in multiple universes, then, you see. Thinking like the divine. The divine understands there is never just one. It is always everything, all of it in totality.
Hillary, you have your hand raised next.
Hi, thank you for being here and speaking with me. I really appreciate it.
Good evening, Divine Creator.
And hopefully I'm able to ask my question. I'm sure hopefully you understand in ways that I can't physically say. But I've always struggled with feeling like I don't belong here, like on this planet or kind of in this lifetime. And so sometimes I feel a sense of like meaninglessness. Although I search for purpose and try to be a good human, I'm just, curious if there is really, a purpose and if I will ever feel that way.
Many in the Western culture, in your country, were taught that you come from a meaningless universe that was created by accident, and that you were formed meaninglessly through some accident of evolution. And it is natural, first, for you to feel this way based on the information that was shared with you. None of it was true. None of it is true. The feeling of disconnection then from your value fulfillment, as you say, your purpose here, is a very natural thing to feel. And so, first, you must disabuse yourself of any negative connotation that is associated in your mind with feeling this, as you say, being adrift in your physical world, which is what meaninglessness feels like. And can you achieve it? Of course. Again, you are an unlimited, eternal, spiritual being. You are the divine having a physical experience. You can have anything you wish. Everything is within your purview. You have an opportunity here to disregard the things that you were taught. You have an opportunity to not believe the limiting beliefs that you were taught. The universe was not formed that way. The evolution of your race, the human race, was very purposeful. It was done with love. It was done with appreciation and exploration, creativity and adventure. You are love incarnated in physical form. You have the ability to just feel love and change lives, you see. So, can you connect with your, as you call, purpose, your ability to achieve your value fulfillment? Yes, I would recommend that the first thing you do is disregard any belief that you have about how the universe was formed and how your race evolved. For that is not true, but it is the number one reason why people on your planet have this feeling of being adrift, of not really having that purpose here, of feeling as though their existences are meaningless and they don't really belong here. The feeling is a reflection of the assimilation of meaningless teachings, which you have the ability to disregard. There is no judgment that you learned them. Most of the children in this country between certain ages learned these theories. So you can politely say to yourself, I no longer need to believe these aspects, these things that I was taught. They have not served me, and they're not really helping me to move towards my ability to create a life full of meaning and purpose and love and laughter and joy and passion and desire. And so I'm going to disregard those now because I am entitled to believe whatever I want. And then you can begin to assimilate beliefs about worthiness. Focus on what you enjoy. Focus on what makes you excited. Focusing your thoughts on anything in this positive direction will bring you closer, allow you clarity, allow you to connect with that clarity, to move you in the direction on that positive timeline to experiencing a life that is purpose driven, then, as opposed to meaningless.
We have another question in the chat room. How do we align with our many multidimensional selves?
You can perceive aspects of your multidimensional aspects. You can do this through meditations that are designed to allow you those experiences. You can experience modalities like yourself searching through your own Akashic records. You can experience past life regressions. You call them past life regressions, but they're really not past life regressions. These are all simultaneous lives. Again, you accessing your consciousness in another life. There are many modalities at your disposal to perceive aspects of your multidimensional self. Understand that the framework that you came forward into, which is a human form, would have difficulty perceiving the totality of you in this time and space reality then. But it does not mean that you cannot experience aspects of your multidimensionalism in other ways. For instance, there are lives that you are having right now as a female. There are lives that you are having as a male. There are lives that you are experiencing as a heterosexual person. There are lives that you're experiencing as a homosexual person, you see. And based on the framework that you have created here, you would have unnecessary difficulty consciously having that information flood in at all times, which is why the construct exists right now as it does. Again, it does not diminish your ability to, in ways that you can handle, perceive other aspects of your multidimensional self, but just not all at the same time as you can when you are operating in the non-physical realm.
Vance, you have your hand raised.
Yes, I'm actually feeling very grateful right now to be interacting with you. I'm currently undergoing awakening and or ascension journey, and I've experienced expanding perception and a more positive mindset during this time. But for the past many months, I'm feeling stuck. I mean, I've no longer been able to connect with my intuition or guides for direction. It almost feels like I'm in a void where all of the doors are closed. Now, I mean, it's possible that I'm not really stuck, but that's kind of my perception right now. So as I'm looking to become my authentic self, I'm curious if you would have any insights or guidance on how to reconnect with my guides or intuition for direction. Or, I mean, is this perception of being stuck an illusion and it can be changed? Or is this
Yes,
something like it's a
that is
part
the
of the
perfect
journey?
question. Perfect question. Yes, the answer is yes. It's just an illusion and you can change it at any time. Imagine then that you have come forward and you have created this hologram that you call your life. And so, of course, you control the hologram then. And so it is very easy. You believe you are stuck, and so you are stuck. You are never stuck. There is not any moment in time where that is true unless you make it so, unless you incorporate that script into your hologram then. Yes? And so what you would like to do is you would like to experience next level connections. You would like to experience more communication between you and your guides and teachers, as you say, in the other dimensions. Some say on the other side. You would like to feel that clarity. You would like to feel all of those things. And so the first thought to form is appreciation for all that you have done so far. Appreciation for self. The focusing of your thought in human form on appreciation for self expands the energy of love within your physical framework. Anytime you are taking to focus your thought throughout your day on appreciating your journey, appreciating everything that you've created, appreciating everything that you've received. I appreciate all of the loving relationships that I've experienced. I'm also appreciating all of the relationships that were not as enjoyable, but I know it served my evolution. So I appreciate all of the things that I have created in my life, in my hologram. Appreciation is the energy that begins to expand love. It is natural for your energy to pitch down. You were never meant to hold your energy at one particular frequency. You are in human form. You came for the energy to move down and up. You came to move the energy. So it is perfectly fine. And you must tell yourself, it is perfectly fine that I am in the place where I am right now. And I am so grateful that I know how to move myself forward. Do you hear the difference in the energy of how all that sounds as opposed to I feel stuck? Yes?
Yes.
Saying the words that I have offered you, saying it to yourself, it expands love within self. And remember, the more you expand love within your own physical framework, the more you have to offer the world. You cannot offer the world your shirt if you don't have one. Yes? And so what you want to do is every day express appreciation for you, expand that center of love for you within you. And I assure you, the things that you're looking for will naturally begin to move again. Appreciation for self, expanding love for self, taking the time to express your worthiness in this way. Worthiness is the idea of the divine, you see. It's a divine thought, your worthiness and your powerfulness, your infinite ability to be unlimited in any situation. Then expressing this for self is what expands the energy of love within self. Practice this appreciation every day and you will see your life transform. Everything is energy. Everything is energy. Remember this. In this hologram you call your reality. Everything is energy. And so move the energy. If you want to create more clarity and have more loving communications, expand your love. This is not hard for you to do. You're already loving. Just focus your thoughts on that aspect of you. Appreciation, gratitude. Pat yourself on the back. You deserve it.
Here's another question from the chat room. I lost someone very dear to me a few months ago. I have been trying to connect to him by expanding my consciousness. Is it doable? And what is the fastest way to do it?
Fastest way to do it is to first stop thinking that you lost somebody. If something is lost, it cannot be found. The idea that something is lost is an idea that separates you from the connection that you have with non-physical. You may have very lovely, enjoyable, and fun interactions with this beloved every day if you wish. But first, you must understand they are not lost. They are not lost. They know exactly where they are, and they know exactly where you are. The idea of someone being lost creates an energy of bifurcation, of separation. Instead, focus your thoughts on love, the love that was shared, the love that was co-created, the enjoyable times, the fun. These energies of these thoughts are more harmonious with the energy of your natural authentic self. Your natural authentic self is unlimitedly powerful and can communicate with anyone in non-physical at any time you wish. But first, you must move into alignment with your natural authentic energy, which is love. And what resonates with love? Fun, laughter, smiles, knowing that the person is not lost, the person is there. The person is there, and is your job to come into the understanding that as a divine being, you are connected not only to this person, but to everything. And the repetition of this thought is going to close the gap that was formed with the idea that anybody could ever be lost. You did not lose anyone. You simply now have an ability to communicate with a beloved in a different way, which you were perfectly designed to do at any time you like. Everything is energy. If there's a disconnection, it's because there is a thought at the heart of that separation. Remove the thought, replace it with an opposing belief like he is not lost, she is not lost, no one is lost then. And you will see the manifestation of that belief begin to unfold. Also, before you embark on this journey any further, I would caution you to examine your beliefs about communicating openly with non-physical. I would ask you to examine if your belief structures believe in negative energies, dark entities, then. Because where there is a belief in negative energy, there will be a concern that a negative energy might be able to come through with, you see. So before you embark, one, eliminate the thought that anybody ever gets lost. Nobody gets lost. Two, examine your belief system about communications with, as you call, the other side, the non-physical dimensions then, outside of your physical dimension. And what your beliefs are, again, are going to create the timeline of your experiences. If you have negative beliefs, which are creating negative energy frequencies, you are on a negative timeline. This cannot be understated. If you have positive beliefs, though, you will place yourself on the same experience, except you're on a positive timeline. And so create the beliefs that will create the experience that you want. You are not at the mercy of negative and unwanted experiences. You control every moment of them. If you want to have a pleasant, enjoyable outcome with your beloved, you can do so. But examine first what you believe so that you can make sure you're on a positive timeline with that experience.
Jackie, you have your hand raised.
Yes, thank you very much for connecting with us tonight, Seth. I have missed you. I certainly soaked in all of your wisdom when you were here the last time. And I was just wondering, where have you been focusing your work since you've been gone these, 45 years?
The relationship in this paradigm is obviously not the same. In this collaborative here, again, let us go back to the beginning. Everything is energy. And in this construct, the desire was for clarity of a particular material, clarity of a particularized information. And so, because this framework did not have limiting beliefs that would oppose it, there was the creation, the co-creation then of what you call the path of least resistance. And so, if one is not aware of a thing, then one cannot have a limiting belief about a thing, correct?
Yes.
And so here, in the absence of knowing much of anything, and I say that with love, there was an open path through which the universe could deliver any number of variables in answer to the request for clarity. In this case, she wanted to understand the Abraham material at will. Now, at the time that the request was made, ask and it is given. It was only for the material that she was learning. But you see, when you create with the universe, as you are the universe, your energy resonances are going to determine how the manifestations are going to arrive. The absence of a belief can be just as important as an unconditional belief. Here in this case, the path of least resistance to understanding the Abraham material, and again, understand, in this case, she got more than she asked for, indeed, more than she bargained for. And so, in this way, though, this is the infrastructure, this is the co creation that she has access to at all times, anytime she wants clarity about that information. Now, she has decided to share her manifestation, the clarity that has been given in this way to her from her asking with others. She did not set about wanting to write books. She did not set about wanting to do anything. She only set about wanting the clarity that would allow her to continue to evolve and learn. And that is what has been given. And this is the construct through which I operate, of course. Free will is sacred. Now, as in the other question, she has the option of no longer desiring to do this. And of course, that is within her purview. As you can see, she enjoys it and she enjoys sharing. And so she continues to do it. This is the framework of my collaborative with her, is to bring the information forth through this structure in a way that people can understand it. For those who have read the Seth material, then many have complained, yes, that sometimes the material might be difficult to understand, as it was true also for her when she first started reading it after she was introduced to this access of intelligence then. But the relationship is different, as is how the relationship was formed. And so I am available as long as the collaborative is unified and willing to proffer assistance to those who would like to access the information.
We're going to take a couple more. One, Jeanette, why don't you go ahead?
I would like to first, if I could please ask for the time check, please.
Okay. It's 8:44.
Indeed. Okay. Continue. please, and thank you.
Hi.
Are you okay with two
Thank
more?
you. I have.
Okay.
Yes, 2 more is fine.
Okay. Hi, Seth. Hi, and Michelle. I feel like you need maybe a drink of water. You've talked for so long, and I haven't seen you take a sip. Hi.
That is
Thank
very
you so
kind
much
of
for sharing.
you. Thank you for co-creating this time of sharing.
Oh, thank you. Well, I feel like I need to reprogram my mind when it comes to being educated on this negativity. I mean, I feel like I need to just turn off the news and, with COVID and all that, it's just,
That would be the smartest thing that you could do right now. That would be the smartest thing that you could do.
Yes, it's hard, but so
If
it's
you
not really
say it is
important.
easy, though, you understand it will get easier and easier. If you say it is hard, you understand the
Yes,
pattern.
yes,
Yeah.
you're manifesting whatever comes out of your mouth. So it's not important to light sage for protection or hold a protective crystal in your hand or wear protective jewelry. That's all something that we've created in our mind. And because I have like sage that I light for protection before I do maybe a spiritual reading on somebody, or have these crystals in my home that I hear that are the pink crystal quartz are for love, and then you get your hematite. I just wonder, is that really not necessary? Or
These are beautiful expressions of creativity as to how you would like to express your spirituality and assist others. So again, everything is energy. There's beauty in the movement of moving sage that has been lit, is there not? There is energy. Yes, there's energy in everything, including your stones. Yes?
oh, yes.
And so the validity of that is perfectly fine. What I am trying to say is that your abilities are not limited to those things then.
Mhm. Yes.
You
thank
understand?
I understand.
And so there doesn't need to be an over reliance on anything outside of you when you are the most powerful surge of energy in your life. You understand? Now, is there energy in all of the things around you? Of course there is. Of course there is. And there's value in that. And there's beauty in expressing your spirituality using a lot of different materials. And it has been that way in humankind, in your race, going back thousands of years. In that way, it is nothing new, you see.
Yeah, rituals. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely so. And so, no, it's perfectly fine. And if you enjoy it, you should do it even more. But it
Well,
is
thank
not the
you, and I
extent
will.
of you. It is not the extent of you. There is, you can bring more of your power to the creative way that you express your spirituality with others. And in the way that I am telling you to move the energy within self, then
Thank you.
there's always more, there's always higher levels of you. Not higher, that is not the appropriate word. There are always additional levels of you to experience here. And your ability to alter distortions that have been created in your energy will allow you to create a more positive timeline that you can then enjoy while you're in this 3D reality, your ascension, so to speak.
Okay, the last question. What happens to our souls after death? Are our loved ones who have passed happy and surrounded with love? Can they see us and help us?
There is no death in the terms that you think of it. There is no death. There is a transition that is made out of your physical body and back into non-physical, but not for 1 nanosecond of time, in that you understand, is there a death It cannot be. You are consciousness. You are consciousness experiencing a physical life. You are eternal. You're eternal and unlimited. There is no death. Ask me the second part of that question again, please.
Let's see.
One moment. Also understand that each soul determines the moment of the transition out of the body. And each soul chooses the method for very personal reasons. In that way, when you transition back into non-physical, there may need to be some processes that you receive, some assistance that you receive. If you are somebody that had great attachment here to the idea of a purgatory, then, and if you, when you transition with those beliefs, there may be certain processes that you will need to experience before you can begin reassimilating back into the understanding of your total existence. And each experience is different then. And so each process may be different. Can you please read me again the second part of that question?
Yep.
I apologize for interrupting.
It's regarding those who've already passed. Can they see us and help us?
There is more assistance that is being offered, proffered even, to each one of you. Every moment you exist here, you literally have, I'm going to select a word that could possibly give you the breadth and scope of understanding here. Legion at your back. You have the support of legion. It is difficult for your mind to grasp the concept of things like infinity. But there is so much support and love for your existence, just you, just yours alone. The access of help and assistance and support that you have is always there, unconditional. These are the frameworks that you have the ability to access, to communicate with, and that you receive every day then. When you think of death, there is an idea of separation. And I began this conversation with saying it would serve each of your journeys if you could begin to think like a God, if you could begin to think like a divine being would. I gave you an example. A divine being, all that is, understands that everything is connected. You are connected to everything. If you could understand and create that habit of thought and affirm your existence with that connection, you will be happily surprised at all the assistance that you're going to become aware of throughout your day. You're going to be surprised when you ask for help with a gift card that doesn't work. And when you call upon your legion of assistance to have them work it out in a way that pleases you, and then go about your day forgetting about it because you trust your relationship, your connection within oneness, your connection within one consciousness, unity consciousness, you will begin to have other experiences that tell you other truths. You're going to ask for that help all the time so that you can fluidly move throughout your day. You're going to begin to have more fun creating when you work more consciously with your legion of support then.
Thank you. I think it's time to bring the channeling session to a close and let Michelle reconnect with herself.
I agree. And I would like to say in parting that this has been a delicious time of co-creating new perspectives that generated within you new energies. It was a time of expansion. It was a time of evolution. And it was a time of giving and receiving love. And so for that, I thank each one of you for assembling here today to create the space of love together in this show of unity within love. And until we meet again, I respectfully bid you a fond good evening and only a temporary adieu then. Good night. Hi, Jim.
Hello, Michelle. How are you feeling?
My throat. I'm going to take a few sips.
You did a lot of talking.
How are you feeling?
You know, I feel uplifted. I felt it at the very beginning. Just having the ability to connect with Seth. I'd say I allowed myself to feel. You talked about raising your energy, and I put some effort into doing that, and I felt it certainly at the beginning, and as we're drawing to a close, when I didn't have to focus on reading somebody's question, I allowed myself to come back into that feeling.
Lovely. That's wonderful. I'm so glad. I'm so happy.
Do you want to take a break for a minute? And
I'm gonna go to the little girl's room. I'll be back in about 5 minutes then.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, everyone, I hope that you've got some value from that. There are great questions. I just happy that we have an assembled group here. That the questions indicate that you've been, all of you have come a long ways on your path, and there were some challenging issues raised. So, thank you very much for your questions, and I hope that this evening you'll take something back with you, that you learned something, if not to a question you posed, to maybe something came through in a question somebody else posed. So when Michelle comes back, we'll kind of open it up. This gets into a little less formal. If you want to ask any personal questions of Michelle, we can do that. I'm paying attention to the time. It's about 4 minutes of 9. We've been here for quite some time, and so let's try to be sensitive to Michelle's time and not try to tie her up till 10 o'clock tonight. Anybody want to chime in? Feel free to unmute yourself and express yourself.
Wow, that was awesome. Oh, wonderful. I was emotional and happy all at the same time. Like I really got something out of it. It just was amazing.
Mm-hmm. I recognize so many names in the room here, and the more occasions I get to interact with folks, the more uplifting it feels to me, this path that we're on. And if we just stay focused on positive things that are happening in our lives and dwell less on the things that are distressful, maybe we can co-create something better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Daniel, nice to see you here this evening. I apologize. I know there were a few questions that didn't get asked of Seth. As you may have sensed that it was getting a little long for Michelle and Seth, so I had to bring that to a close.
Well, I'm going to start thinking more positive now. That's for sure. I know I get negative, and I think negative sometimes about people, and I just need to start thinking that everyone really is loving, because you attract it, I guess, laws of attraction, right? Oh, the
Right.
world's out to get me, so.
Mhm. So Michelle's back. If you want to ask any questions of Michelle, obviously Seth isn't here at this point. So here's a question
Are you
from Martha.
exhausted?
How is it working out?
I feel energized actually, but also as I was explaining to Jim, I could also just sit down and kind of space out a little bit and do nothing. So I can do both. But I'm feeling very happy. I can't see all of you. I'm looking at Jim, but I'm just feeling an enormous measure of gratitude and appreciation for everyone who's on the call. I'm feeling a lot of love for everyone right now.
We love you.
Mostly. Oh, I love you too. I think that we should tell each other that more. I think that expressing it verbally is one of the most powerful things we can do. I love you. I know that we might come off a little, looking a little strange saying that to strangers, but I think the more that we say it, the more that we spread it. And that's a very powerful thing. So I love you too.
Yeah, you can start your videos up. They got all these blank screens out there. Feel free to.
I just want to say for those who had questions, Jim, that didn't get a chance to answer questions, they're more than welcome to go to my YouTube channel. I put up clips of live channeling sessions from other questions that other people have asked.
Mhm.
And if maybe their questions are already on there, and they're welcome to check it out. It's at Beyond Abraham.
Whoa.